Oh, dear viewers, and welcome back to another bombastic episode of This Week in Canada. My name is Roberto Wakerow Cruz. Thank you for joining me once again this week. But one more time, let's give a big round of applause before we start to Surfshark. Surfshark is the VPN of your dreams. You can get it for a limited time only for 81% off. The Surfshark service will allow you to surf the web like you would in any other country in the world. You can buy plane tickets in anywhere. You can check out deals. You can go on Netflix and watch movies. And just for a limited time, and I promise you it is limited, go to the link below and check out Surfshark for only $250 US a month. That's a steal of a deal on unlimited devices. But now let's jump into the news because wow, oh wow. You know, last week we knew an election was looming. They announced it on Sunday, and boy, oh boy, has it been a shit show of news in the last week. All of it revolving around our current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Now, if you watched last week's episode, and we're going to get into it because there's a lot to cover, you knew that I was sounding very, very pessimistic about just the coming election for the Conservatives. I thought that the Conservatives had no chance at all, that minority for the Conservatives would have been completely out of the question. But at this rate, it seems like it actually could happen because Justin Trudeau has gone on a media tour of saying the dumbest stuff in the world without thinking about it. So we're going to get into some of it now, starting with the one that I think is personally the worst of the bunch. Justin Trudeau explaining to media that he doesn't think about monetary policy. What? Now, this sounds a little bit tough to explain. And when I don't understand something, I like to refer to smarter people. So as Pierre Poilievre will explain in the clip after. But let's roll the first clip of Justin Trudeau saying he doesn't really understand or believe in checking out monetary policy. Weird. Let's go.
You mentioned the Bank of Canada's mandate. That mandate is actually expiring at the end of this year. If re-elected, it's probably the review or the extension of the mandate is probably the first big economic policy decision you'd make after the election. There's some talk of allowing the Bank of Canada to make some tweaks to the mandate to give it a little bit more flexibility to tolerate higher inflation, so it could, help stimulate the economy a little bit more in this very difficult time. Do you have a position on the mandate? Would you support a slightly higher tolerance for inflation?
I don't know. When I think about the biggest, most important economic policy this government, if re-elected, would move forward, you'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy.
So as the reporter there explained, and as Pierre Poilievre explained on his Twitter afterward, I highly recommend that everyone put tweet notifications on for Pierre Poilievre. He is going on a mission to take down the Trudeau government here. But it would probably be the biggest responsibility of the next prime minister within the first days of their election to sign off on the central bank's inflation mandate, which would set the cost of living for the next 5 years. The Bank of Canada, I suppose, for a long time, as was explained to me by Pierre Poilievre's Twitter, has been set at 2.0% and has stuck to that amount for years now. Past July, inflation went up by 3.7%, which is very high, and I believe the highest it's been in a couple decades. So for Justin Trudeau to get up there and be like, yeah, you know what, I don't really think about money, especially at a time where I've just spent $1 trillion, more than has ever been accumulated, and more debt that's ever been accumulated even before COVID. So, I mean, already the debt was off the charts. The guy spends like it's no tomorrow. We already knew this, right? It's kind of like, you guys remember that, the budget will balance itself thing?
Commitment to grow the economy, and the budget will balance itself.
So this is like the budget will balance itself thing, except I've always thought that quote was taken a little bit out of context. This one is straight up just him being a big dummy. So what he goes on to say is that he's talking about, he's talking about I believe the $10 a day healthcare, and he's talking about just getting women back into the workforce. So as we will see, Justin Trudeau likes to use these terms that children use. He likes to talk down to women because he believes that he's a sexy hunk, and he kind of is, but it doesn't mean that he gets to talk like this to women, where he says that the she session needs to turn into a what? Let's roll the clip. Let's roll it.
It is exactly the example of the kinds of things you need to do to counter the she-cession and turn it into a she-covery.
So the she-cession needs to turn into a she-covery, as was very very humorously pointed out by Andrew Lawton. The she sells seashells by the she-covery. Pretty good article there. You should check that out. For those wondering where O'Toole stands on this, he actually does say that he thinks about monetary policy a bit and that he would leave it at 2%, which is exactly what Justin Trudeau should have answered if he wasn't too busy daydreaming about a majority government. That is quickly becoming... I mean, it's more likely that he's going to win than O'Toole, but I'm not as certain that it's going to be a guaranteed majority as I was initially. I would actually say that O'Toole's done a pretty good job in the last week or so of putting himself out there. So I was talking to someone in Ottawa last week that works around the political establishment, and they said this is the number one issue for O'Toole. His name recognizability, the amount that people recognize his name is not as high as people in the Conservative camp would really like it to be. So getting O'Toole out there in the next 30 days, really, that's left in the election is mission number one. And so far, I think he's done it with a few kind of interesting ideas that even if you don't agree with them, you will see his name next to the headline and be like, what? He's doing what? One of them is the month-long GST holiday. Let's put that up on the screen, where O'Toole says that the cost of living is rising dramatically. Hardworking Canadians are paying the price. The GST holiday in December, so a Christmas time GST holiday, which in my mind just would have everyone wait until December to do their shopping and potentially cause an outbreak or something. I don't know, kind of a weird policy. But it's ideas like that that are just trying to get his name out there in the next month. The next thing that Justin Trudeau made a little oopsie on, and this one was really bad. It actually wasn't Trudeau himself that made the mistake, but rather Marc Garneau. So let's roll the clip of Marc Garneau saying that the Trudeau government hasn't really decided yet if they're going to recognize the Taliban as a legitimate government after their takeover of Afghanistan. Let's roll that one. It's really weird.
Minister Garneau, thank you for joining us. The U.S. had warned the Taliban if Afghanistan was taken by force, it would not be recognized internationally. Will Canada refuse to recognize a Taliban government?
Well, thank you, Katie, for the question. I would say to you, it's early days. Right now, we want to see what happens. The country has essentially surrendered to the Taliban. The Taliban is saying that it wants to run as a government, but we're going to wait and see. It's too early to answer that question.
So if you're not aware, that's the Minister of Foreign Affairs saying that that Canada is still kind of considering whether or not we should consider the Afghanistan's regime, the Taliban, as legitimate. Kind of weird to me. I would personally like that to be a no-brainer again. And let's just give a big shout-out to Marc Garneau, another former astronaut, just like Payette was, the former governor general. These people that are literally space cadets seem to have no idea what they're doing and make gaffes like nobody else does. Payette just likes to bully her staff around, but Garneau doesn't even know that the Taliban is bad. I feel like everyone's known that for 20 years. How come we can't just have the the foreign affairs minister say that? So Justin Trudeau, probably really pissed off at Marc Garneau, has to come out the next day and go, no, the Taliban is bad, and we're not going to acknowledge them. Let's roll that clip. I know it's a clip-heavy episode. Let's roll that clip.
Canada has no plans to recognize the Taliban as the government of Afghanistan. When they were in government 20 years ago, Canada did not recognize them as a government. They have taken over and replaced a duly elected democratic government by force. And as you point out, they are a recognized terrorist organization under Canadian law.
So, as you can tell, as you can probably tell, the Trudeau camp is not going, the campaign is not going as smoothly as I'm sure they thought it was going to. For one, calling an election the same day that Afghanistan falls, already not a great look. This whole ordeal with leaving behind Canadian allies in Afghanistan and not giving direct answers in press conferences, really not a good look either. So the reason that I think that the Trudeau camp is getting a little bit more worried than one might expect is because they've already played the abortion card, and it's only been like 4 days. So, as Robin Urbach puts it, fantastic journalist, check out Robin Urbach. Put up the tweet on the screen from Miriam Mounsef, a Liberal MP, that says, tonight in Quebec, Erin O'Toole pretended to be pro-choice. He did the same thing in his platform, but in reality, he'll let his team bring forward legislation to restrict abortion access. That's the same position as Andrew Scheer. So a big conspiracy from Miriam Mounsef, to which Robin Urbach perfectly points out the total nonsense conspiracy theory behind this. It says, quote, Erin O'Toole says he is pro-choice, but his hidden agenda is to bring back Andrew Scheer's hidden agenda, which stems from Stephen Harper's hidden agenda, which will materialize one of these days. Trust me. It's a perfect way to break down this nonsense by the Liberal camp that they do every time. That is a myth that says that abortion rights are under attack in Canada. What? The issue's been done. It's a done issue. And yes, there is a vocal minority of people in Canada, cultural conservatives that don't like abortion. I'm personally not a huge fan of it. Seems like killing a baby to me, but you know what? I'm not trying to take away that right. It's part of the deal. I guess I have to put up with it. Sorry. This issue's been closed forever. Harper said the issue's closed. You really think Andrew Scheer? I know he made some weird comparison about a tail and a dog, and that was some big thing, but it's not going to happen. Erin O'Toole is the most middle, soft conservative that's ever going to exist. He's trying to soften the party's image. You really think he's going to take away abortion? It is all nonsense talk. And this is exactly what the person in Ottawa told me. They said, you know what? It's not as dire as it may seem. The O'Toole camp, if they hold even the Liberals to a minority, it could be seen as somewhat of a victory in a really kind of pathetic way. But that's not for me to decide. Let me know what you think, though. I'd love to hear from our viewers. And shout out to those in Nova Scotia. Conservative majority government. I didn't see that coming. I didn't know that was even an option. So shouts out to you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of the election campaign so far. It's been a pretty weird one, in my opinion. Go down to the links below and check out all the ways that you can support us. We got a shop, we got premium content, we got everything that you could want. And of course, check out Surfshark. Surfshark for only 81% time. Now let me redo that. And check out Surfshark for a limited time. Get 81% off of the best VPN that there is in town. Only $250 US a month. Surf the web with freedom, as one wants to do. Surf Netflix in any country that you want. Search the internet in any country that you want. It's a fantastic product. Go ahead, check it out. Thank you very much for checking out This Week in Canada. My name's Roberto Wakerl Cruz, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for joining us. Bye. Thank you again. Bye-bye.